earlier this year. He said the cramps were, in quote, my hand, my throwing arm cramping, forearm cramping, fingers getting stuck together. I was going through it. It sounds horrible. Shannon, how surprising was this?
I'm surprised that people are still doubting him. Skip, I'm not Dr. Fauci. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not an infectious disease specialist. So I can't tell you the side effects of having COVID-19. Haven't had it.
I'm not sure anybody.
Right.
Anything.
So, but for people to always to try to find, well, he wasn't doing that, or he had to go to a bathroom break, he had to do this. Why can't we just take the man at his word? I mean, you think that man said, you know what? I need to do something spectacular. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be playing really well up until that point. And I'm going to fake like I got something that's really wrong with me. I'm going to go to the locker room for 2 series.
For 2 series.
For 2 series. I'm going to let the suspense and the drama build. And then I'm going to come back on the field, Skip, on 4th and 5. Not at the start of the drive, on 4th and 5. And I'm going to be heroic. Really, Skip, if that had been any other quarterback, if that's Brady, if that's Rodgers, that's Mahomes, we give them the benefit of the doubt without a second thought. This man is constantly, here we are, Skip, it's Thursday, and the man is constantly trying to defend himself. The man had COVID. Like I said, Skip, I can't sit here and say, well, if you have this, but I can tell you, I've been dehydrated, and I've had muscle cramps to the yin-yang, and I've always suffered from muscle cramps. Because I'm not a guy, I'm not a heavy water drinker. I know I should drink more water, but I'm not a heavy water drinker. And when you have muscle, and when you're exerting like these guys are, that can happen. And so he got him, in his legs, and he said came in his arm, and he came in his hand. Matter of fact, I was just working out the other day, and I got one in my forearm, and I got one in my hand. So Skip, the man said he had cramps. I'm gonna take this man at his word. He had cramps, and he came back in. He was playing unbelievable up until that point, and he played even better after that point. So I'm done with it. For me, he don't need to offer any more explanation. He say, if you believe me, fine. If you don't, kiss my butt.
He went so far as to say it was probably COVID related.
Right.
Now, I remind everyone, he was not asymptomatic. He had symptoms. He was down for the count.
Right.
He said that he mostly just slept for 10 days straight to sleep it off.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to preface everything I say by disqualifying myself. As you know, I'm a frustrated orthopedic surgeon. If I could have been anything else besides this, which is my dream job, I would have been some kind of a doctor, because I am fascinated by the human body, especially under duress in the field of play.
What it can do.
Yes. So I was so fascinated by what happened because the ESPN.com reporter, Jameson Hensley, reported the next day on Tuesday, and I brought it up on Tuesday morning show, that Lamar was having arm cramps. Okay, what is my history with dehydration? All I know is I participated in the ultimate dehydration endeavor, which is marathon running.
Correct.
There's nothing like it for hydration, dehydration. It's not the intensity, obviously, that you participated with, but it's so long, and it's all weather-based. The whole marathon experience is all about the temperature and the humidity, period, end of story.
Yes.
So I know that I ran Boston one time, and I caught a 75-degree day in the springtime on April the 12th in Boston, Massachusetts, which is highly irregular and unusual. And I was out of my mind, cramping. I got calf cramps at the end of the race. I was down on it. I thought I was going to die because you can't stay hydrated. It was humid and 75. It's way too hot.
Right.
I also ran one marathon in Dallas, ran it under 3 hours, and I drank a lot of water before. You said you don't like it. I don't either, but you have to force drink, or you're just going to get in trouble
you got to
fast.
saturate the muscles beforehand.
All right, I ran the whole marathon, and I never took one drink at one aid station. And I ran like that was 2:55. My best was 2 hours, 47 minutes, and 20 seconds. That was at Houston in a drizzle at 55 degrees. Beautiful, perfect. That's
you want cool temperatures. Your body stays cool and you can go.
A lot of my friends said there's no way you could have run the whole Dallas White Rock Marathon without a drink. I said I did, and I felt great, but I was bloated with water. Okay, now back to Lamar. In all my years of writing about, watching, observing dehydration on the football field, basketball court, it always starts with your legs. It's usually your calves.
Right.
And they just lock up and you
Right.
think you're going to die, which
Right.
is why we see players go down on the field and you say, oh my God, did he hurt his knee? Is it Achilles?
Right.
No, it's just a cramp. Well, right now he's not thinking it's just a cramp because you've had them.
Yes.
And you think the world has ended.
Right.
Until they can sort of massage it
Right.
out, and then you might have to take an IV to get some fluid quickly into your system. Okay, Lamar is saying, and I buy this. He says, I was real life cramping. My hand, my throwing arm, my fingers were getting stuck together. Okay, now we're going somewhere else because now you got upper body cramping that's almost neurological based. You know, you can have migraines and you can get cramps upstairs. You're going to get them up higher. Okay, so what was going on here? Well, we don't know.
Right.
But could it be COVID related? It should.
Yes.
Sure, it could.
Sure.
So what I appreciated about him talking about this was, number one, he fought all the way through this and came back and pulled off as miraculous a comeback as you will ever see. So God bless him, because that was as great a game, I told you, as I've seen this decade in the regular season. And I appreciate what he pulled off because just the psychological scare of it. Wouldn't you just be, what is happening to me?
It's almost like, and what people are trying to do, had he been playing bad up until that point, they'll say he just wanted to get out of the game because he wasn't playing well.
Yep.
But he was playing well, Skip.
He'd already broken the record for rushing yards by a quarterback in a Monday night game.
They were, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, they were up 14. They were up 14.
34-20.
So they were up 30. Why would I want to leave that, Skip? I'm dealing.
Dealing. No way.
I got one.
No way.
I got a $122, 2 tubs on the ground. My team is about to go ahead and we about to get back in this thing, make a strong playoff run.
Right.
Why would I want to leave that?
And by the way, my experience with players needing a bathroom break, you're not going to miss 2 series.
No.
Unless you're sick. If you got some bug in you.
Right.
But I don't think he was sick with a bug. That wasn't brought up. Okay. So cautionary tale here is that this COVID is no joke.
Right.
And I know there are still players out there. I'm seeing a lot of NBA players, and boy, they're going no mask at the end of games, and they're fraternizing, and it just scares me because they're not in the bubble anymore, right?
Correct.
So it's much more threatening. I just want to deliver the message. This thing is scary because it's so random. Some guys, asymptomatic. So we've read about some players who even have heart effects from it, lingering heart effects.
Correct.
It is not something to mess with.
Right.
It is something to avoid at all costs, and I know Ernestine and I are so into this right now. You realize yesterday out here in Los Angeles was the worst day yet in the whole pandemic. They had more positives out here just yesterday in the last 24 hours than at any time in the whole pandemic, mostly probably because of Thanksgiving.
Right.
Okay.
And then we about got to have another holiday.
Here we go again.
And then we about to have New Year's Eve. So so for about a month stretch.
So I just hope all those players, both NFL, any sport, obviously, take a look at this and say, man, Lamar was down, and then it came back and bit him during the game, and it is not to be trifled with.
You're exactly right, Skip. But like I said, because this disease of this virus is so unknown, we don't know. It's going to take some years for doctors to understand all the long-term effects of what having COVID did to an individual. So like you said, some people get it, and it's like nothing.
Like nothing.
And then some people get it, Skip, they're on ventilators. They in ICUs, and some people die. There's a reason why they got 305,000 deaths.
Yes. Some have underlying causes and some have none.
Right. So for me, like I said, I'm going to give Lamar. Lamar said he started cramping. I'm going to take the man at his word.
Me too.
Having played this game, having cramped in these games, in cold weather. See, Skip, and I guess it's hard for people, if you've never been in a situation like that, it's hard to say what is, man, I ain't never cramped in the cold. Well, I don't know if you've ever been asked, because not only are you performing mentally, you're performing physically.
I got it.
And sometimes, Skip, you can get cramps just because you're so focused and you burning so much energy. People don't understand that. Like I said, I'm a muscly guy. But I've had cramps, and I've suffered from them when I was growing up, Skip. It's not like when you go to college or you go to the NFL or professional sport, you get IVs. I was baling hay for Mr. Joe Tatum one time, and I cramped up, folding lips in the head, and so I locked up. What they gonna do? Just pour cold water on me and say, hey, you call me Pee-wee. Pee-wee, you'll be okay in a little while.
Take a break, and here we go.
But that's it. But this man, to try to diminish the man, Skip, to say, he ain't cramping that one, that was nothing he had to do. Come on, people.
Nope. It's legit.
Yes.
And finally, the bottom line of the story is just yesterday, the Ravens had 3 receivers go back on the COVID list, including Hollywood Brown, because of contact tracing. I'm not sure that they have it. They just, because they're back on the list.
Right.
Because of their contact. Here we go again.
Yeah, I think people had fun with it on social media.
Yeah, I had fun with it.
Unfortunately, they had fun.
But I believed it.
You had fun too.
I did.
But I think it's important to remember that Lamar, you know, he's being honest about this. And right now we're just happy that he's healthy and doing well after dealing with COVID. But we're going to be continuing to follow that. And, of course, talk a little bit more about the Lakers right now. Will LeBron and AD be the best Lakers duo ever when they're done? We'll tell you what Shaq actually had to say about this next.